started screaming about that.
This is Cape Coral Talk Radio. And now, broadcasting live from Hooked Island Grill in the heart of downtown Cape Coral, here are the hosts of Cape Coral Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming to Hooked Island Grill. And for those of you that don't know what we're about, we do a talk show here every Friday night with members, a lot of members of the city council or the county commission. We're also going to have somebody from the city on today to talk about there's a boat parade tomorrow and also the fireworks. So there's a lot going on here in Cape Coral. And our guest, dear, grab your microphone. Our guest today is Lee County Commissioner Brian Hamman, who I was thinking back, trying to think back to the first time that we had you on the show, which was on the beach. Do you remember where it was?
Was it during the pandemic?
It was.
Okay. Yeah,
wow, you do
sense.
remember. Yeah. It was at Pete's Time Out, and you came to the show with charts and graphs and everything, and you know, we stayed open.
Those were some weird times. Yeah, that was a time when I could put my old television news reporter skills back to work and just try to give people good information about what was going on with the pandemic in Lee County.
It was that long ago?
Yeah, it was 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
5 years. And so let me ask you, because we had a lot of people who were happy with what we did, but we had a lot of people who were not happy with what we did by staying open in Lee County. 5 years later, how do you think we did?
Oh, I think the envy of the rest of the country, don't you?
I think so too. Our economy bounced back much faster than many of the communities who did those really tough restrictions. I think our businesses are doing well. I honestly think we did a fantastic job.
I think a lot of.
Oh, I see. I gave you the wrong one, dear. Go ahead. Go ahead. I got to turn yours down. That's what I did. You took the wrong. Go ahead now. You're good. There you go. I was trying to turn Brian's.
And you're back.
I was trying to turn Brian's up, and I was turning yours up.
I think a lot of people rethought where they were living and made different choices after that.
Yes. Yeah, no, we did. We saw a huge boom. I'm born and raised here, right? I grew up in Cape Coral, right there on Coronado Parkway, have lived my entire life here in the Cape, except for 4 years when I worked for an ABC station in Missouri, but I came right back as soon as that job was done. But anyways, I've only seen it twice in my life where the growth has been as explosive as it was after the pandemic. Once after the pandemic and once in the very early 2000s. Otherwise, we've been pretty steady. Our area only had 200,000 people living in Lee County when I was born in 1980. Today, we have 860,000 people living here, but it's been kind of a steady climb, but we have had those two really explosive times in the early 2000s and then right after the pandemic, but that's already started to slow down.
So 200,000 in the whole county back then, and now you have 200,000 just over
Coral.
here.
Yeah.
Before we talk about those kinds of things, Brian, when you look back at how the county handled Hurricane Ian, and there was some criticism, I thought it was unjust about the evacuation part of that, how that whole went down. When you look back on it now, these years later, how do you feel about how the county did?
I mean, a lot of us residents who have been here forever, who have been through multiple storms pre-Ian, will all tell you the same thing, that, look, they had predicted that we would have storm surge like that our entire lives. And many times those predictions had never come true. And so many of us, we didn't evacuate, wouldn't have evacuated. A lot of the longtime natives, said, we'll take our chances. And unfortunately, this time, that storm Was the storm they always said could happen. It happened. It was real. And so I think the county did a great job with the response. We did everything we could to get the word out to people as early as we knew. You know, that storm made a wicked right turn at the very end and headed straight towards us, as we all feared it might. And so we did what we could to get the word out pre-storm, and then we did everything we could to make sure that we saved as many lives as we could after the storm. And we did everything we could to get this area heading in the right direction as soon as possible. And I would say 3 years after Hurricane Ian, we've got a lot left to fix. However, we're making great progress.
And learned a lot in the process. I mean, you learned a lot just going through that process to put in place next time.
I did want to make sure that we welcomed in our beach audience because we have the county commissioner on. We're also broadcasting live on our beach Facebook page, and we are going to ask some beach questions because there's a lot of things that cover both areas. A lot of overlap with the with the county and what's going on with the county. The first, go ahead, dear. Did you? I interrupted you, but the first
was
question,
that an apology?
wow. Yeah, kind of,
very
sort
nice.
of.
It is the holiday season.
I know. Well, he doesn't want to be on the bad list.
Now, what
so.
do you and your family do for the holidays? You have two kids, right?
We do. We have a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old, and this year we decided to try to do the experience thing.
Oh,
'cause
nice.
we always buy them a lot of gifts, but this year we wanted to buy like an experience for the family, so they don't know, and I'm not going to reveal the secret on here.
Okay. But it's an experience, not a thing.
We're gonna take a little trip, and so hopefully it'll be a nice trip, and they'll like it. We'll make some memories.
So the first question I want to get your thoughts on was I watched the county meetings, and I watched Marsha Ellis does a lot of public comment. She's very educated. She does basically speak on every single issue. And one time she was removed from a county meeting, and I was watching and I thought, wow, I've never seen that before. Maybe it's happened before, but I'd never seen that before. Was that the right thing to do, to have her removed from the chambers?
You know, I'm not going to criticize another commissioner and another chairman. I think he made the best call that he thought in the moment while he's trying to chair the meeting. It's a really tough job to chair a county commission meeting. And I'll say this, as a commissioner, I want to communicate with the public. I want to have great dialogue with everybody that we serve. We're your representatives to the county government. And I don't necessarily think coming to the podium at every meeting is actually the most constructive way to work with a commissioner. Okay. Honestly, if you want to work with the commission on an issue and really make progress, email, call, set up a meeting in our office. All of us are accessible. We want to talk to you. We want to help you with your issues. And I think a lot of times when folks show up at the meeting, it's really weird. We have to operate under Robert's Rules of Order. We can't fight back, if you will. So somebody could come to the podium and accuse us of something or call us a bad name or whatever. We're supposed to take the high road, sitting on the dais and not reply, not answer their questions, not fight back. That's not the best way to have any kind of a conversation. Right. So I would say this, if you're watching and you have a problem you want to work on in Lee County, reach out to my office, send me an email, give me a call. Let's work on it together before it gets to the point where you have to come to the podium.
I think the other thing too is there's a time limit, for reasons.
3 minutes.
And I was watching another meeting where same person went over the time and then continued to go, even though, and that doesn't create a lot of goodwill either.
Yeah.
Plus, if you cut the person off, it does make it look like you're not listening or makes a county commissioner look.
I mean, if the bell goes off and somebody keeps talking, somebody's going to have to cut that person off. So it just doesn't look good. It's just,
And in an effort to be fair to everybody else who came, who wanted to share their piece during the meeting, you want to try to limit the time because you might have 60 to 90 speakers who want to talk. And honestly, some people come and they want to talk about something that's really near and dear to them, and they have to wait hours to get through a topic that they may not be there for because of all the comments. So yeah, you got to give that time limit, I think.
So you're in TV. How and why did you decide to get into politics?
Yeah, this is kind of a funny story. So when I was 8 years old,
I know, because I'm sure TV, like radio, just pays so well.
It pays better than radio.
I'll go back further than TV too, though. When I was 8 years old, Ronald Reagan was term
It's only an
limiting
hour
out.
show.
Yeah, that's fine. Ronald Reagan was term limiting out. George H.W. Bush's vice president was running for president against Michael Dukakis. I got really interested in elections back then. And my dad's like, he took me to vote with him. We filled out the ballot, together, the sample ballot. I think I voted for Fred Flintstone or whatever. Better than Barney. I don't know. Anyways, so fast forward, I took TV production all throughout high school. I went and started working for Wink locally. I went over to Fox 4 and was a sports guy there. Went out to Missouri and was the Monday through Friday news anchor there. When you're in news, you want to play it straight down the middle. You want to try to be objective and not have an opinion. But my dream was always to kind of be involved and improve my community. And so when I transitioned out of news into the business world, I started making great connections in the community. And I said, now's the time. Let's run for office. Let's try and make a difference here. And so we started running in 2013. The commissioner that I was running against at that time ended up resigning early from her term. And there was 13 months left. And the governor at the time, Rick Scott, appointed me to finish out her term because we had our campaign going. People liked what we were doing. And then I won election in 2014.
So speaking of the governor appointing somebody,
you took the words right out of my mouth.
This has happened a couple of times now, and you're always trying to figure out, okay, who could he appoint? Who's got the governor's ear? I mean, I think the last one was Ray Sandelli, and you try and figure out, okay, where did Ray come from? Because it didn't look like he was in politics. And so, I asked Kevin when he was on the show, and I don't know who else I asked, and nobody really knows. And I've never heard of this new council person or commissioner. Have you heard of her? Did you know her?
I had gotten a chance to meet Trish earlier this year. The couple things that I was struck by when I met Trish for the first time was that she was already watching the county commission meetings. And she asked me questions about some of the issues we had been voting on. And they were smart questions. I was really impressed that she had been keeping up with what we were doing on the county commission meeting. The other thing I was struck by when I first met her was I'm a Christ follower. You guys know that. My faith's really big for me. She is too. She works at Evangelical Christian School, and she's a mom, and she drives a minivan, and she's 34, and she's got kids. And honestly, I was 32 when I first got on the commission, and I had kids and car seats and French fries stuffed in my back seat. So I like the idea that we can build this county as a county where our families can grow up and build a life here and find good paying jobs without having to move out of the area. I feel like I might have somebody else on the board who has those same kind of dreams.
So you called the governor's office and recommended her?
No, I actually didn't. Okay. But if he would have asked, I would have said, I think she'd do great. Yeah.
Yeah. And the difference is this is a full-time job. You have a full-time, this is your full-time job. Right. And what is this? I mean, the salary is public, but what is the commissioner get paid?
114.
It's like 114 or 118, something like that. Yeah.
So you can hire a younger person to
somebody can definitely live on that.
Which is one of the things they struggle with here in Cape Coral because they're, it's a bigger thing here in Cape Coral with getting paid $40,000 or something. It's going to be hard to find younger people unless they're independently wealthy to be able to run for city council and be able to say, I can live off the $40,000 a year job. So she gets appointed, but this seat now is up for election. I know Amanda Cochran's running.
But before you ask that, when you said you started off early and you had an interest, how difficult was it to kind of get up to speed? I mean, how difficult is it? I know you said she's been watching the meetings for a while. I mean, I don't know how long now, but there's a lot of meetings. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. How do you hit the ground running?
That's kind of why I chuckle a little bit, because before I became a commissioner, before I got appointed, I had actually gone back in the Lee County archives and I had watched a full year's worth of county commission meetings. When I made the decision that I wanted to run for county commissioner, I said, I want to know what the meetings look like. I want to know what the issues are. And so I watched a full year's worth of county commission meetings. And so when the governor appointed me, it was actually a pretty quick process. I was appointed and then there was a meeting that same day. I was already up to speed. I had been reading the agendas every week anyways.
Right.
So I knew what we were voting on. I knew what the backstory was. And so with the amount of public information that we have on our website, it's leegov.com. You know, it's funny. I am your representative. I'm the people's representative to the government. I actually go through our public website to do my meeting prep. I pull the agenda off the public website. I look at the same things you look at and hopefully try to ask the same questions that you would ask if you were a commissioner.
So I just one last question, then I'll let you move on.
It's your show.
When the governor gives you is it like an interview or is it just like an ask or is it?
Or is it a staff?
I can't speak to her process, but for me, for me, it was an interview. I actually went up to Tallahassee and sat with the governor in his office, and he interviewed me for the position.
Grilled you?
He did, yeah.
Wow.
And Rick Scott and I are both conservative Republicans. We both care a lot about creating jobs. And this was coming out of that Great Recession. This is 2013 now. Jobs were a big thing. We connected on all the issues, and so he appointed me.
One of the things you said was that your door is open. You want to meet with constituents. It's probably better to do that than it is maybe to speak in public comment. When the constituents come to you, what are the top issues they talk to you about these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's on everybody's mind, right? The roads are a lot busier these days. There are a lot more people who live here now than even a couple years ago. So we talk about what is the planning for growth? What is the planning for infrastructure? What are you going to do about the road network? That's some of the top issues on their mind. But I also, it's true what they said, all politics are local. People care very much about what's going on in their specific neighborhood. And one of the things I've been trying to help people out a lot with lately is code enforcement. Now, please hear me out. I don't want to turn Lee County into a big HOA where we've got all these strict rules. And
no, you don't.
No, nobody wants to be like that. But when you have a situation where it's really gotten out of hand on a property, so much so that it's affecting the entire surrounding neighborhood, we've got to address it, right? And so I find that I get a lot of people who will come and talk to me about situations like that. And recently the county held a workshop on code enforcement. We talked about the strides that our staff has made on code enforcement. We even released a website. If you go to leagueof.com, you can get connected to that shows you the open code cases that might be in your neighborhood. So you can find out if they're being addressed. If they're not, then call it in and report it, and we'll try to see if we can work on that situation. And again, I'm talking about the real nuisance accumulation where you got like 30 cars in the yard and the whole house has just really looked like a dump, and it's dragging your property value down and everything else in the neighborhood. That's what we got to address.
Yeah, I posted some pictures about a house on the beach today. I mean, there's houses on the beach that have been untouched since Ian, and they're ready. It looked like they're ready to fall down. I mean, so it's going on in every neighborhood.
And that's not okay. It's been a long time, but they were hit with a storm. You're talking about people that are just not.
Yeah. And sometimes
doing it.
It's actually a pretty sad story, actually. Sometimes you'll find that the person who's there in the house maybe lost a spouse and maybe just lost their motivation to keep the place up. And actually, that's when I'm really proud that our county team has done more than just help clean the place up. They'll bring in the wraparound services, the social services that can help the person get connected to resources that might help them too.
So one last question about the commissioners. What did you think about? Now you've announced that you're running. You can run for another 4 years if you're elected next November. You'd have to term limit out. Does that mean? Well, I guess it doesn't mean permanently. You can, because Frank came back, right? Frank Mann came back.
Correct. So you can sit out for 4 years and come back.
Oh, 4 years.
Yeah, gotcha. You got to sit out a term, though. I think. Yeah.
So, what did you think of Cecil announcing that he wanted to be the supervisor of elections?
Well, I think good for him if that's what he wants to do. For me, I announced that I want to be a county commissioner. One of the proposals I brought forward to the commission when I first got on board was the idea to term limit commissioners to 3 consecutive 4-year terms. So basically you could serve 12 years and then you got to go out and live under the laws that you've been working on for the last decade or more. And so I would love to be the first commissioner term limited out. Since I brought it forward, let's do it.
Let's go. I've never heard anybody say that.
Out.
I'm ready to go after 4 more years.
Yeah. So vote for me in 2026. I'll be there till 2030 and then we'll get some fresh blood in there.
What would you like to get done in those 4 years going forward?
I'm so proud. I think we got to continue, obviously, the hurricane restoration, right? We got hit with the 3rd most expensive hurricane in the history of the United States of America. We've made tremendous progress. We just did a contract out at the beach for Lynn Hall Park, getting those bathrooms back online. Crescent Beach Park, getting that back online. So continue the hurricane recovery. Number 2, good planning. Like, we got to continue to build out the road network. We got to get Burnt Store Road widened here in Cape Coral. We got to get the Cape Coral Bridge replaced because it's hitting its end of its engineered life. So we got to get Alico Road connected to State Road 82, which will relieve Daniels and Colonial. So I care a lot about making good infrastructure improvements like that. And then, finally, I think it is about creating the right environment that companies would want to move here and create good paying jobs for people.
Well, we would be happy to have some relief on Daniels because it is crazy. And I will say they're starting the construction for the diverging diamond.
Yes.
That's gonna, and
Brian.
I'll be honest, we complained and looked at that before it went in on Colonial and was like,
so did you,
who the heck-
because
who
you
the
were the
heck
biggest
thought
one
of
that I
this?
can't. You
This
would
isn't-
say,
yeah,
you
this
would
isn't
say, I
gonna
can't.
work.
Why does it take so long for these road
Yeah,
projects
yeah.
to get done?
But once you get used to it, I mean, there is a little learning
It
curve
works.
for
Yeah.
it. It works.
Oh yeah, it's efficient. It really does
Yeah.
work well, and so they're going to build one of those at Daniels. I would think that because they don't have the hurricane and they don't have the pandemic, that they'll be able to get the one built at Daniels in a much more efficient way. I would also say this. We've got the Three Oaks Parkway extension that's going to parallel I-75 between Daniels, and it actually goes all the way down into Naples. So the thought is that if 75 has an
Right.
accident and it's jammed up, you hop off on Three Oaks Parkway extension and take
And tree
that
line
down.
too. You've
Yeah.
got tree line.
Yeah, exactly. Tree line too, if you're heading the other way, or Tez if you're between
Yep.
MLK and Colonial. We're trying to build parallel routes to I-75 so that if there is a jam on the main line,
When there
you
is.
can work around it when
Yeah,
there is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It is when there is.
So you kind of mentioned it real quick. So for the people in Cape Coral,
Oh yeah. This is a
when
big
is
one.
when is Burnt Store Road going to be widened? I mean, we've had this conversation before, and I know it's about the money. So, and you were the one that
2036.
Let me say this very clearly. My top road priority is, as a Cape Coral resident myself, is to get Burnt Store Road funded. I've been shaking trees and bushes everywhere I can, even reached out to our Cape City Council to try and see if they'd help us with the funding. I got told no. But I have been shaking trees and bushes wherever I can to try and get funding for Burnt Store Road. Here's the analogy I'll use, guys. The reason why I don't have a pool at my house is because pools cost $100,000 nowadays, and I don't have $100,000 to build a pool at my house. Still a priority though. And so Burnt Store Road cost $190 million.
Mhm.
We make maybe $75 million a year in road money revenue. I'm really oversimplifying this. I'm sure somebody who's a real policy wonk is going to come call me out on this, but let's say roughly we make about $75 million, and we've got like $1 billion worth of roads to build. And so it's just really the math doesn't math right now, as they say. We don't have the funding to get Burnt Store Road widened right now. Now, just because we don't have the funding doesn't mean we can't work on it. We have completed the project development and environment study. That is a 5-year study that allows you to design the road and permit the road. That finishes up this month, the PD&E study. So what that means is it'll be eligible for federal grants. It'll be eligible for state grants. We'll be able to put some bridge toll money towards it, and gas tax money, and anything we can find to try and get it built.
So it's
Now-
$190 million in today's dollars.
Right.
Yeah.
When, in your mind, will the project actually start, and what will the cost be on that day?
Well, this is unacceptable to me. Our transportation staff says, they might be able to start on it in 7 years. This is unacceptable to me, but they say by then it might be a $300 million road. And again, I'm like, that's just unacceptable to me. We've got to find a way to fund it now. So, I've reached out to folks at the state. I've reached out to FDOT. I've reached out to everybody who will listen to me. We need funding to try and get this road widened now. We
Now-
might even look at the idea of borrowing money to widen it. We've already borrowed against the gas tax as much as we can. And gas tax is interesting. So our primary source of paying for roads is gas tax. Believe it or not, because we're all driving more fuel efficient vehicles and electric vehicles, guess what we now have less of?
Right.
Gas tax. So roads are more expensive and the money that's coming in to build them is less. And so we're trying to find ways to fund it, and we'll keep looking for it.
Now, I was watching Riveting, the MPO meeting, and they were talking about how there's you can use some state funds, but there are other state funds that have to go towards those bigger, they're not allowed to be used on off-system roads.
That's
so
right. Yes.
there's some federal funding, but not as much for these off-system roads. And it was a very small dollar amount that was on the graph that Burnt Store Road got or will get from those funds, which, I mean, it makes sense. The rest of the state isn't going to pay for a county road.
And these are the things that you don't find out until you really get in the government and get in the weeds and really start to study an issue. I mean, it's so easy for us to read a social media comment and say, yeah, They should do something about that.
Right.
Those
Right.
guys suck. But the truth is they don't suck. They're doing everything they can. And there's a lot of restrictions about that state and federal money. And so we're trying, like I said, we're trying to find all the different pots of money we can pull from for that one.
Do you think the growth got ahead of itself before it was ding, 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 we got to widen this? Like what happened that caused this sort of hiccup?
Actually, I think this one, in my opinion, inflation killed us on this one. That's my opinion. Inflation killed us on this one because here's the thing. When I first got into office in 2014, Burnt Store Road was 2 lanes from the Charlotte County border all the way down to Pine Island Road. I said, we got to get to work on widening Burnt Store Road. So we started widening Burnt Store Road. We did the first segment. We did the second segment. We just finished the third segment, actually like in 2022. And now we've gotten 3 of the 4 segments widened. It's not like we haven't done any work on Burnt Store Road. We spent like $150 million widening Burnt Store Road in the time I've been in office. But now to do this last segment, it's $190 million.
Wow.
It costs more than like the first 3 segments combined.
That's
so
crazy.
I think inflation is what killed us.
So the governor's your friend, right? You like the governor?
I just want to
No,
ask
you
one
already
more-
you asked
all right,
4
just-
questions
I know,
in a
just
row.
want to ask
No.
one more question about not to throw a bee in the bonnet, but when you were talking about the city of Cape Coral chipping in, that you asked them to chip in, and I'm sure somebody's out there to correct me if I'm wrong. Their response was it's a county road, so the county should do it. On the beach, Estero Boulevard is a county road, and the town, you didn't ask the town, right, to chip in on that. So kind of, is that apples and apples or not the same?
Here's the reason why I asked. Number one, because we need money to build the road, right? So I'm going to ask everybody. I'll ask you guys if you chip in. We're going to take up a collection before we leave today.
We got a couple bucks to help you out, but
no, here's why I ask. Okay, so what are impact fees? What are they?
Well, they're now mobility fees over here.
Impact fees, mobility fees, whatever you call them. This is a fee that you're going to collect from a new home that's being built. And why do you collect that road impact fee? Because you say all these new homes that are being built along Burnt Store Road are going to cause the need to widen the road, right? Or add capacity, right, to our road network. Great. We don't get a single dime of that. So the Cape will collect impact fees from every home, all the thousands of them being built along Burnt Store Road. Those residents will drive on Burnt Store Road, but not a single one of them's impact fees will go towards Burnt Store Road.
They'll go toward the city roads.
They'll go towards, right. And so, I mean, are you really going to widen Northeast 24th Avenue? You know what I mean? Or whatever? I don't know. So, I mean, I don't see the city widening a lot of roads. I love the city. I'm a resident. I'm a native. Okay. But this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Chiquita's not 6 lanes or whatever. Like, what are you doing with the impact fees? You have a road that's clearly being impacted by the new development. You're collecting fees from the new development meant to help widen roads. Could we get some of that to help with the road? It would only be a very small part, by the way. It wouldn't cover the whole widening of the road. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to mislead anybody that this would solve the problem.
This is what
it won't solve the problem, but it's Cape Coral helping to understand that the development along the Burnt Store corridor causes the need to widen the road.
Is that door closed completely, or are you still kind of chatting with people about it here?
I mean, I would hope that we could have that conversation. I would hope that it could be an all hands on deck situation where we could all come together and say, look, we need to do this for the good of the community. Yeah.
So one of the things that it appears the Governor DeSantis is trying to do is on his way out the door, eliminate any way that municipalities can generate revenue. You mentioned it before, so I want to start with this. He's talking now about eliminating tolls.
Yeah.
What would how bad would that be for Lee County if that happened?
So we collect tolls in Lee County to pay for the loans that are on the Midpoint Bridge and the Cape Coral Bridge. Believe it or not, that Cape Coral Bridge still has a loan on it. The one in the south that connects College to Cape Coral Parkway. That loan will be paid off in the year 2027. The Midpoint Bridge was actually finished when I was 17 years old in 1997, but it was a 30-year loan. So that's still got a loan on it too. So we collect the bridge toll money to pay those loans. I mean, I guess we'd have to find another way to pay those loans. But the truth is, I mean, the reason why we were able to get those loans is because we said we had a revenue source in tolls to pay it back. So I would think that would cause problems with the people who actually hold the the mortgage, the bondholders.
Yeah. Well, what
on
happens
those
to the
facilities.
future if you have to build another bridge? You'd have to
Well,
find
you
somewhere
are.
else to
They
get the
are
money. I
building
know.
I mean, you're going to have to find a way as a community to pay for the infrastructure that we all want, and so if you say, well, we don't want to pay for it through tolls and we don't want to pay for it through property taxes, well, then you're going to have to look at what are other mechanisms to try to
sales tax.
pay for it. That might be what they look at. You're going to have to find an alternative.
Well, that's it. That's the only other thing left.
And we'll work with the alternative. We just,
Gotta know what it
show
is.
us the plan.
And speaking of the other thing is the property taxes that the governor wants something done, and I don't know if there's still 8 bills in the legislature, but it started with 8 bills, and they're talking about taking away property taxes, but not impacting the school or police and fire, I believe. So how does the county deal with something like that?
Honestly, I haven't seen the details, and that's really where the devil will be in the details, right? So the session for the Florida legislature will start in January. It'll run for roughly 60 days. And by the end of that session, I know that they're going to come out with some sort of law that they passed about property taxes. But between now and then, there's a whole lot of sausage and a whole lot of fighting that's going to happen over what the final product looks like. So I'm watching just like you guys are on that one.
Okay.
I mean, if, property tax aside, do something about the insurance company. Do something about the homeowners insurance. I mean, ours is more than our by a. It's
and we're not even by the water.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
All right, let him answer the question, dear.
Well, no, I mean, she's right. That's what I hear the most of from people about the affordability. When you talk affordability, property insurance, homeowners insurance is a big kicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people can't afford the rents too. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's coming down. I mean, the market right now, the real estate market has really softened, right? Homes are taking a lot longer to sell. Prices have really come down. Rents are really coming down to try and fill up the vacancies.
Yeah. So, the county is I think they're heading for a vote on single member district. No.
Yeah, the legislature actually put that on the ballot. The legislature in the last session passed a law that said Lee County has to hold a referendum on the idea to switch their voting style to single member districts, which means you would only vote for your district commissioner as opposed to voting for all 5 commissioners.
And is it going to?
Where are you on that?
It's on the ballot. I was happy with it going on the ballot. People can choose their style of government. That's actually one of the reasons why we're a charter county, because we have our own local constitution. People in Lee County said years ago, hey, we want to be able to self-determine our style of government.
When you go to the voting booth and vote for single member district, how will you vote?
Oh, man. Why do you want to get me in big trouble with a lot of people?
But I thought publicly you came out in favor of that. I thought you were in favor of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about it this way. I really have to do a lot of thinking on whether I'll vote for it or not. I will say this. It's not going to be as catastrophic as some people make it out to be as far as a failure. Our school district changed to single member district voting, and most people didn't even know that. They're like, what, really? Yeah, the school district changed in 2014 to single member district voting. You only vote for your district school board member, and the board only got more conservative and better since then.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually had a school board district at one point that was like fighting Governor DeSantis on the mask mandates and stuff like that. Now we've got conservatives out there.
Yeah.
So I think it has its place. I do think as we grow to 1 million people, you're going to want, as a resident, a person that you can really grab and say, you're my district commissioner. You need to look out for my district. Because when you're just one of 1 million, it's kind of hard to get your voice heard.
And is 5 enough at that point? When is 1 million people? Is 5 enough?
Well, I mean, I would have been supportive of mimicking the style that we have on the school district. So our school district has 5 district commissioners and 2 at-large commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because you got 2 people who are saying, I'm looking out for the community as a whole. And then you got 5 that are accountable to their district saying, I'm looking out for my district. It's like the Congress. It's like having a House of Representatives, which are elected by districts, and then having a Senate, which are people who look out for the whole state or the whole.
So let's just, if it passes next November, the single member district, how does that get incorporated? Do you have to wait 4 more years or the next election, or how does that?
I believe it would start with the 2028 election if it got passed in 2026.
Okay. And you guys stagger your elections, right?
Right. We stagger the elections. So like in 2026, District 2 and District 4 are up on the ballot. District 5 will also be because of the special election related to Mike Greenwell passing away. And then in 2028, it would be Districts 1, 3, and 5.
Gotcha. So one of the things that has come up, I think the whole county is interested in hearing what's going on with the 2020 program. Didn't have any money in it. I don't know if money was moved into it, but I know how you feel about it because you're strongly in favor of that. But what can you tell everybody about that?
Sure. You know, we're still buying conservation land in Lee County. Believe it or not, Lee County has roughly 500,000 acres of land in its borders. By the federal, state, and local purchases now, we have over 120,000 acres of land. More than 21% of the land in Lee County has been preserved and will never be built on. That's incredible.
I would never know that driving around Lee County thinking there was that many.
Well, here's why. Because the whole planning theory, and this was set in motion long before I got on the commission, the planning theory was we did not want to spread out in Lee County, but we wanted to do what's called infill development, meaning you develop in the areas where the development already is, but you prevent urban sprawl, meaning you stop development out in the areas that haven't been developed. So what that does, Ed, is when something new is going to be built, you put it on 41 where there's already development, and 41 then gets busier. And I don't know, some people might think about, you know, what would have happened if we would have actually spread things out a little bit more.
Well, there's a lot of development down on Corkscrew.
There is. Yeah. And that is so much different than the development that they used to do. So if you look at our hometown, Cape Coral, right? Cape Coral, when they planned this thing in the early 50s and 60s, they cut the entire peninsula or Cape, that is Cape Coral, into 80 by 120 residential building lots. And then they sold those lots off all over the world to people who now have a right, an entitlement to build a house on that lot. The government can't take that away from them. There's literally nothing you can do about it. They left like no green space in Cape Coral. They actually didn't even plan a lot of room for businesses to move into Cape Coral. Today, if you want to develop in Lee County, a planned development, man, right off the bat, you got to set 40% of your land off for open space. You got to connect to utilities. You've got to preserve the wetlands that are on your land. You got to preserve the native plantings. You've got to hook up to water and sewer. So when you're building a new community these days, you're not building them like they built the pre-platted communities of Cape and Lehigh Acres. It's much better planning methods.
Yeah. And when Mayor Gunter said one of the council meetings that it's 9% commercial and 91% residential, and that's not really going to change much because of the way it was planned.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of commercial when you keep bringing more and more people to town.
I mean, if you look at a really newer planned community like Babcock Ranch, which is going to be a big community, right? Babcock Ranch actually sold off 90% of their land to the state to be a preserve. And they're only developing on 10% of what they owned. And they're about to build their second Publix up there.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if everybody had to get on 31 and drive all the way down to the Publix that was on State Road 80? That's a ton of traffic. But
that
now,
poor bridge won't know.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now they're working on their second Publix out there. They're going to try to capture the people and keep them there as opposed to driving everywhere. And I think that's much better planning than like what unfortunately was allowed to happen in the 50s and 60s, where they just said, let's make it all residential.
Yeah. So one of the quick questions I wanted to ask you about the beach was the Fort Myers, because the city of Cape Coral is going through the same thing with the yacht club here. Is the Army Corps of Engineers just seems to work one day a week or something. And one of the challenges with the pier on Fort Myers Beach was the Army Corps of Engineers and getting permits. But I think the bids are in for the construction work. I saw 3 bids in for the construction work. Can you get everyone up to speed on the beach pier?
On the beach pier, I have to tell you, that is, we're waiting on the actual agenda item. Hasn't appeared on our agenda yet, but I believe it's going to be early first quarter of 2026 where we'll finally get a chance to vote to approve a contract to get that going. But you're right. I mean, we have to go through, just because we're a government doesn't mean we can do whatever we want. We have to apply to all these other government agencies like the National Marine Fisheries Association and, you know, the Army Corps of Engineers and all these things. And all these people get a say. And while it's really important to us, we're just one of a million projects to them. And so it's been slow to move through the process.
Yeah. And then the FEMA situation, which seemed like it slowed everything down all over Lee County. Like you have to wait for FEMA before you can even touch a traffic light or touch the pier or whatever, knock down a building, you have to wait for FEMA to send in 40 inspectors at 9 different times, and then they commit the money. I mean, that's kind of slowed down the rebirth of the county.
Yeah, the red tape is there to try and look out for our tax dollars, to make sure things aren't, fraud isn't being committed and things aren't being wasted. But unfortunately, it's created such a logjam and so much bureaucracy. I mean, our audits are audited to be audited before we audit them. I mean, it's insane the amount of red tape we have to go through just to rebuild things that were there that were taken away from us by Hurricane Ian.
Well, plus the longer you wait, we see how costs just go up. So, you start with one idea, and then 4 years later, when you're ready to build it, it's like, oh, now we're short $5 million because it costs more.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the financial situation of Lee County?
I feel pretty good about the financial situation of Lee County. Touching back on the Conservation 2020 Fund and the funding, that's basically what happened. Look, we got hit by the third most expensive hurricane that America's ever seen. Your budget's going to take a hit in the years following that. And so we had a Conservation 2020 Fund that had like more than $40 million in it at that time. And so if you got a fund that's got more than 40 million sitting there and you don't have a lot of purchases lined up, does it make wise financial sense to pay for the hurricane damage or to put another 20 million in a fund that's already got 40 in it? So you got a budget just like you do at home. You got to look at your priorities. If this fund was healthy and had the money in it, well, then maybe we let that ride for a minute and we try to respond to the disaster that just happened. We're coming out of that now. I really do feel like our budget has really equalized and is starting to reach equilibrium. The property values coming down. I think next year is going to be a tough year. I think property values continue to come down. That's going to throw a wrench into things. But I feel like we can get back to that sustainable where we're budgeting a little bit towards 2020 to get it going again in the right direction. We haven't stopped making land purchases, and that's the most important thing. If a good piece of land comes up that would make a good preserve, we're buying it with the money we have left. I think there's still 19 million left in the 2020 fund right now.
Do you think that in the future the money will get allocated back into the 2020?
That's how we were doing it before the storm. We were, as part of our normal budgeting process, putting money in the budget every year to refill the 2020 fund.
Do you think that you'll have to raise taxes over the next 4 years when you are reelected?
Man, we've done nothing but cut the tax rate since I've been a commissioner, and I'd like to keep that going. I am so proud. When I was first getting on the board in 2014, I think our tax rate was over $4.15 per thousand of taxable value. Today, we're down at like $3.76 per thousand of taxable value. For a large county, the 8th largest county in the state of Florida, to have a tax rate that low, that's almost unheard of. I think we're probably the most efficient county in the state of Florida.
And so what is your biggest concern moving forward?
Well, I think my biggest concern is actually the road funding. So even though we all pay property taxes, actually very little property taxes go towards road funding. The property taxes pretty much take care of like the roads in front of your house. The real road funding comes from gas tax, impact fees, and tolls. And, all three of those are under pressure right now. So
if you actually had
when the bridge gets built, or do you anticipate the tolls going up?
I anticipate us doing what's called, we're going to have to take out a new loan. This is going to be like a more than $400 million bridge. When you take out that new loan, you have to do a toll study. And we're going to have to see what that study tells us is the toll that would be necessary to pay the loan. Now, the good thing is we're trying for grants. We're trying not to fund. First of all, we've been saving any excess tolls that we've been making in the last few years. We're saving to put as like a down payment towards the new bridge. We're looking for grants from the federal government that will help offset the cost of the new bridge. And so we're hoping to borrow as little as possible.
Well, if you're a betting man, would you say, just between us kids, that the toll would stay the same, go down,
just
or go
the two
up?
of us talking? Nobody's
just a three. Yeah, just a,
I honestly don't want to guess, because the truth is I want to let the study do what the study does. And then, commissioners obviously have discretion, even if the study says one thing, to try and do something a little different. So
if you were actually in a heated campaign, which I doubt you will be, how much would you need to raise to run for county commission?
For a county-wide county commission race, the baseline just to get going is probably $200,000.
200,000. And where, you just started. So, but did you have carryover money you're allowed to keep from the last campaign,
so
or no?
This is kind of neat. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to answer this question. You know what I did with the money from my last campaign? In 2022, I had a write-in opponent, and we had just gotten hit by a hurricane. I'd raised like close to 200 grand. I knew that I would beat the write-in opponent, and I did by like 96% of the vote. I refunded the money back to the donors.
I
paid
right.
my expenses. Obviously, you have expenses. I paid my expenses, and then I refunded what was left. That was the second time I did that. I did the same thing in 2018 when nobody ran against me.
So you start from zero then?
So you start from zero, right? And, we announced early, I guess, just a couple weeks ago, so early December, terrible time to raise money. Everybody's,
everybody's
going towards the holidays.
So
my first report's probably not going to show a crazy amount of fundraising. We really had planned on kicking off in the new year. But I wanted to put to bed those rumors that I might be running for supervisor of election. I wanted people to know I want to be the first commissioner, term limited out. I'm going to be here for 4 more years. I hope you'll keep me for 4 more years.
2 questions about the campaign. Will you have like a kickoff party somewhere? You have that scheduled yet?
Yeah, usually we don't have it scheduled yet, but probably sometime in the first quarter of next year.
And if somebody, will it be in the Cape, do you think, or you're not really sure where?
I mean, I always love to do it in the Cape if I can, but typically because you're running countywide, and I will, no matter what happens, I have to run countywide the next time. I try to hold something in every part of the county because I need people in every part of the county to support me.
Right. And so if
people need the people in the Cape to win, though. I mean, the Cape.
Most voters, right?
Yeah,
that's where most of the voters are.
Yeah.
If people want to go on, is your website up if they want to donate now?
VoteHamman.com has a splash page up. Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Anything else you want the people to know in Cape Coral?
I just really want, especially the people of Cape Coral, to know that, man, we have been fighting very hard for Cape Coral over the 12 years that I've been there. Everything I've done has been to try and figure out new ways to help people get to work more efficiently. Believe it or not, 60% of us who live in Cape Coral have to go to Fort Myers for work every day.
That's why you need a bigger bridge.
So we got Littleton Road widened, and we got Kismet and Littleton realigned to create North Cape, where is really in my district, one of the fastest, probably the fastest growing part of the Cape. All of us who live there, a lot of us who live there have to go to work every day, trying to create faster, safer commutes for them to get to work. I've been working on that. So my primary goal has been to just create a place where people can get good paying jobs and raise their family.
Well, Brian, you're always great to us. We appreciate you coming on. We wish you and your family a happy holidays and fun at Disney, if that's where your destination is for the holidays, or wherever you're. Yeah, I got to give you credit for traveling during this time of the year. This is the last time I would ever want to travel somewhere.
I guess you could travel when it's busy or when it's hot, and I guess we're choosing busy.
Thanksgiving is even.
Yeah.
I think Thanksgiving is worse.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate it. Big hand for Brian Hamman, everybody. Your commissioner here from Cape Coral. Thank you very much. All right. Before we have Melissa come on and tell us about the great things that are going on here in Cape Coral, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Sean Carter, CarterGetsLoans.com. Give Sean Carter a call at 574-320-4840, 574-320-4840. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make, and having the right guidance can make all the difference. Clear communication, a smooth process, and he'll support you from the start to the finish. You know what? Go on Facebook and follow Sean Carter. Go to his website and or give him a call right now. He's sitting in his car waiting for you to call him right out in the parking lot of the Hooked Island Grill, 574-320-4840. 574-320-4840 or CarterGetsLoans.com. That's CarterGetsLoans.com. All right, our final segment. We have great music coming up. Mike is playing after this at 6:30. I'm not even gonna try to say, I'll butcher it, Mike. But it's got like an 8-piece band playing here at 6:30. They're here at noon setting up all their equipment and working hard. So they're coming up at 6:30. Whoop, go ahead.
Is it Imbashani?
Imbashani? Oh, Basquiani.
Basquiani. Not even close. Sorry.
And our second guest tonight, we're lucky to have Melissa on from the Cape Coral City government. And there's a lot of things going on. There's always a lot of things.
So much going on, yes.
But before you tell us what's going on, we have to say, I posted it on Facebook, how awesome your reindeer run was last Saturday night at the golf course. And thankfully, we had Lori Lehman on the show because she told us the correct golf course, because I thought it was going to be at the old golf course. I didn't even know there was another golf course.
At
But
Yes.
Coral Oaks.
yes,
Yes.
and your
Yep.
staff was great, and the race was fun. And
It was a lot of fun.
yes, and Lori was there handing out shirts and bibs and stuff, and your team just did an awesome job. And
Thank
I know
you.
how hard it is to organize a 5K race. We have one coming up on New Year's Eve, and it's a lot of work.
It is. I love to hear that you participated in
Yes,
it, though. It
we
is
did.
I think the event has gone on for 4 or 5 years, the
Mhm.
reindeer run, and it's now becoming an annual, tradition for a lot of families to do that locally,
It
and
was-
they really like it.
There was a
It's
lot of
fun.
families there, which
Yes,
is
a lot of
not
kids.
that's not always the case. So
Yes.
it was
Yeah,
nice to
good.
see.
And they had,
Yeah, it keeps growing.
people came dressed up for the holidays, and you guys also had music at Christmas music
Yes,
at
Yes,
different
and it
that
times.
changes
really helped.
as you go through
Yes.
the course, right?
Yes.
A lot
To
of
different
fun.
locations. Yeah, our special events team, honestly, second to none. They're super small. You
Yep.
wouldn't necessarily know that because they put on huge events, even like Red, White, and Boom, which is enormous, for the city
Yeah.
of Cape Coral. But yes, that's them, and they put a lot of love into all the events that they do. This is their season, and so I'm really glad that you participated.
Yes.
And if you
Yeah.
haven't done it, people, you definitely need to.
Yes,
So
and we
And you
something to
can
try.
run it, or you can jog it, or you can
can
walk
walk
it.
it.
yes, and so how long have you been with the city now?
So I have worked for the city of Cape Coral for almost 5 years. I've lived in the city of Cape Coral, though, for like 25 years.
Mhm.
So I've really seen it grow, from very rural looking. And then I find it very exciting to work with the city, especially in this time when we're really growing and, turning into more and more of a city. And it's just very exciting.
So for people that don't know, explain to
Yes.
them exactly what your job is.
So my title is the manager of the Office of Communications and Marketing for the City of Cape Coral. And what I do is we manage I have a team. So we have the 311 call center, which is one facet. So if you have a call, you have an issue to, reach out to the City of Cape Coral, you call 311. As long as you're within the city limits, it takes you right to our call center. And we either connect you to the department that you need, or if there's an issue you need taken care of, you let them know, we create the ticket and take care of it. But the other part of my team is media relations and public relations, and we do so much. So if you're looking for information straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the City of Cape Coral, you should be following us on City of Cape Coral Government on Facebook. We have Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We have a TV channel. It's Cape Coral TV. It's all our content. It's all created by our office, it comes from the department heads. It comes from, the people actually doing the work. So, sometimes people think that they have a misconception and think that it's maybe coming from, and I don't want to, from a political aspect, but it's not. This
No.
is the work that's coming out of the actual city divisions and departments. And that's what we communicate out. We just launched our new, it's our website, but it's a refresh. So it just it's cleaner. It's ADA compliant. We did it very inexpensively, so I'm really proud of that. It was
That's
less
great.
than $12,000 to refresh the entire thing. It was a labor of love by our division. It took over a year to get it where it needs to be. But now if you go onto it, it's smartphone, smart device friendly. So if you tried to do it previously, it was not, but it's much
Wow.
better now.
Doing a
Um,
government website is not easy because there's just so much
big.
information.
Yeah.
It's
so much,
huge.
especially
It's
a city
huge.
like this size.
Yes.
And so you also do the Cape Clips, where if people
do.
don't have the time to follow a
Yes.
council meeting.
So myself and a member of my staff, we stay through every council meeting. We take notes. We try to determine the topics that are maybe the most hard pressing or the most interest that our community has shown. We create Cape Clips, and that does go out on social media and also on the website. We do press releases. Since I've started working for the City of Cape Coral, I realized there was a little bit of a disconnect. We had so much going on that just wasn't being communicated out. And it's because they just didn't have an office truly dedicated to be able to put out all the information that's going on. So it went from maybe 2 to 3 press releases a month to we push out almost 30 a month now. So it's a
Wow.
lot of
Yes,
information.
you do.
today.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's all
right.
on the website.
And it's on Facebook. It's
And
out on
Facebook.
social
It's
media
all of
right
those
away.
places.
Yeah.
We also design, create, disseminate the On the Move magazine, which is a beautiful magazine. It goes out quarterly. You'll be getting one in January. It's delivered to every improved property in the City of Cape Coral.
So it's an actual
Magazine.
wow.
And we take the photos that are in it. I have my it's a small team. We have I think there's 7 of us total on this side of it when I talk about media relations and design and communications. And those people are, like I said, works highly creative, highly collaborative, but they are putting in the time and the effort to create these, design them. So it's all done in-house, because that does come up on social media.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? How much did it cost?
Right.
What is On the Move? What is the magazine about?
So the On the Move used to be, it's been around for a while. It was been delivered quarterly, and it used to be more of a newspaper style that showed up at all the residences. One of the things that we did was redesign it into a magazine that's a little bit more, it's more beautiful, to be honest with you, and a lot of content information. And it tells you updates on all of the city projects. It gives you usually there's articles in there. It talks about Parks and Rec and our Parks and Rec facilities. Events are in there. Lots of really good information. And then it shows you where to find information too. It's just another way to sort of touch as many people as we can and make sure that they're getting, all of the hot topics. Right now, we're getting really close to the new rental registration ordinance, which will go into effect in January.
Right.
And I think the biggest takeaway that I want to make sure people know for that is, and I know this isn't why I'm here, but the rental registration, if you've registered already in 2025, you're good until that anniversary of your registration in 2026. So there doesn't need to be a mad dash to register rentals on January 1 or just after. But lots of stuff. Yacht Club.
And people most people are online, but you still like to have something in your hand to look at and refer to, instead of having, let me sign back onto the computer. I forgot it. Let me look at it.
Listen, that's my thought exactly. And my husband, he'll take that magazine, and after about a month, he'll say, can we chuck this? I'm like, no.
It's a resource.
Yes.
I need it as a reference.
Never. So if they're not on the coffee table, they're hidden away. But, everybody hopefully keeps them too.
So what events do you have coming up?
Well, thank you for asking.
You're so welcome.
So tomorrow, very excited. I had to bring notes. Sorry. And I didn't bring my readers, so hopefully I can get it out there. Tomorrow's the Holiday Boat Along. This is an annual tradition, the Holiday Boat Along, or the Holiday Boat Parade. Very exciting tradition in the city of Cape Coral that we have. What I love about that not everyone knows, is not all Florida cities have one. We're kind of unique in that way. And you don't have to have a boat or be on a boat to attend it or to enjoy it. It's free. It's family friendly. It's tomorrow, Saturday the 20th. I'm sorry, have I done something? It's at Four Freedoms Park. It will have live entertainment, music, food trucks, crafts. Santa Claus is going to be making a visit. I'm going to give you the schedule of events, and then again, I'm going to just tell everybody where it is. It starts at 4 p.m., and that's when food trucks will open. At 4:30 to 5:30, there's going to be Studio 8 dance performance. 5 p.m. Santa arrives. 6:30 to 7, there's the Hot Flash dance troupe, which is actually ladies 45 and over. That's like my area of expertise.
Wow.
And they have a passion for dance. They'll be dancing live. And at 7 p.m., the boat parade starts. Then there's the movie in the park directly after the parade. And the movie is Ernest Saves Christmas. So again, that's tomorrow, Saturday, December 20th. 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's at Four Freedoms Park. That's really close to here. If you'd like more information on that event, just visit our beautiful website, capecoral.gov/events.
And then you have the red, white, and boom.
We have, New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. Red, white, and boom
it's okay.
is 4th
It's
of
another
July.
big
Fireworks,
event.
right?
I get it.
You got fireworks
at least
on the brain.
you got fireworks.
It's funny that you say that, but there's no fireworks at our New Year's Eve event. But there are pyrotechnics, and there's reasons. There's reasons. So part of it is that really the vicinity, we have the event for New Year's Eve, which is obviously on December 31st. Oh my goodness. That's your fault, I feel like.
Thank you.
So December 31st, it is downtown right here on 47. And so they shut down the street and they can't light off fireworks in this area.
Oh, sure.
It would have to be near where they do red, white, and boom. So there are pyrotechs, and I'm sorry, I'm going to bring out my
is that
form again.
drone? Is that what it is?
This year there won't be, but we do have, but we're thinking about that for next year. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there are drones that do fireworks.
Yeah. We've heard of it. We haven't
Don't
seen it.
you guys do the drone stuff at the city hall?
So we had drone shows, 2 different ones, one for trunk or treat, one for holiday nights on the lawn. I don't think there's one. No, there isn't one at New Year's Eve this year, but it is something that I know that our special events team will consider.
So what will you be blowing off, or what is it?
So they block off 47th, similar to what they do the footprint on a bike night. And it starts, so it's between Southeast 9th and Southeast 11th. It's downtown. The streets are closed to traffic. We get thousands of people that attend. And this year is only our 3rd annual New Year's Eve event. So it's pretty exciting that we're doing it. It is, I think it was the idea of our current city manager, Mike Ilchison, wanted to bring that additional event to our city, which we didn't have previously. It would have just been private. So it is free, which is free is for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Free
so
is
there's
good.
that. it starts at 6 p.m. We have a vendor village. We have DJ Rafiq. And then at 8 p.m. we have 2 ball drops. We have one for the kids at 8 p.m., which is exciting.
Yes.
Get them and then get them to bed.
Right.
And then get a sitter and then come back out. And then at 8:30 we have Deb and the Dynamics. That's one of real popular local
for
group.
sure.
Everybody loves them,
Yeah.
right? And then at 10:30 we have Pop 2000 tour with Chris Kirkpatrick of InSync. And then O-Town, Ryan Cabrera and LFO. And then at 12 midnight we have the big ball drop. And again, if you want more information on that, just visit capecoral.gov/events.
Where do they do the ball drop?
They do it actually. Sorry, I feel like I turn and then it is in this parking lot over here, I believe.
Okay.
I know they closed the whole thing off.
Okay.
Well, no one can see us, but
Yeah.
47th, Big John's Plaza.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Good thing someone here
Is
knows.
that
Thank
by the
goodness we have
Christmas tree?
Lori Lehman.
Where they did the Christmas tree lighting during the
No, Big John's is down one
Okay.
by Iguana Mia.
Okay. Gotcha. Got you.
But this
Gotcha.
entire street is blocked off so that there's stuff going on.
You guys do
Wow.
a lot of events to keep the
ton of
community
events.
engaged.
Yes,
That's for
yes,
sure.
We definitely
So,
do.
all right.
It's a good time.
Anything else to share before we?
Well, I mean, I was hoping that I was going to be asked about my favorite TV shows growing up. And my favorite song.
At least you're paying attention to the
That's
show.
right.
So thank you.
So go ahead. What was your favorite TV show?
Well, now I feel like.
No.
So I have several. But one of my favorites, which is really, really weird, I feel like now that it was Three's Company, and then The Cosby Show. And I know he's a creeper, but like The Cosby Show was like I really loved it. So there was that.
Yeah.
And then songs, I'm really into songs and all that stuff, but it depends on my mood. So I would say that like if I'm just like feeling really positive and I want to get more pumped up and feel really good about things, it might be Your Love by the Outfield.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
Josie's on a thing.
Yes.
Okay.
At least you didn't say
Or-
P. Diddy, so that was good.
No.
Just
That would
just-
be like two creepers.
and
then
don't
it's
say
like,
Pink
I'm never back on the
Floyd.
show. No.
right.
And then Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Yes. Well,
But
while we're doing the quiz,
Yeah.
you ready for the next one?
I don't know.
Okay. Who's your favorite council member?
Oh, you're so sneaky, Ed. But I was ready for that too. Those are like literally my bosses,
Sure.
bosses.
I wouldn't expect you
And
to answer that
so
if you
I
don't want
can't
You
to.
do
like
that.
them all,
That's right.
They're all wonderful.
Equally. Right. Right.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
like children.
how do you like?
them
But
equally.
seriously, how do you like working for government?
I actually really love it. I've worked in the private sector, so I've worked locally for some of the news stations,
Oh,
and
you
then
have?
I've also worked in the. Did I say that backwards? I've worked in privately, and then in the public sector, I've worked for the school district in communications, and then also, of course, the city of Cape Coral. You know, my husband's a retired law enforcement officer. I feel it very strongly an affinity towards the public sector. I really. My parents are both retired federal government employees. I'm very much, and they're listening. Hey, mom and dad. Sorry. So, you know, I love it. And I love being a part of this growing city and seeing where it's going. And you know, we're part of the city manager's office, even though we're the Office of Communications
Sure.
and Marketing. So we're embedded. And it is just, it's exciting. It's fun. I know that you have a lot of people who've been here a long time that like things the way they were,
Right,
and change is
right,
always
right.
hard. But I think we're going in a really positive direction. And I'm excited about the new, development that's going to be going in.
Oh,
off
yeah.
of
Looks nice.
here, yes, with
Yes.
Bimini. And then the Cove is amazing, and we just
JC
had
Park looks great.
Oak and Stone and Seed and Bean and all these places opening. And
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, when I
love
get
Cape Coral.
an email from the chamber, there's like 6 ribbon cuttings or 7 ribbon cuttings just in one
So
email that
many,
she sends
so
out.
many.
So that's good news to have businesses opening.
It
so
is.
yeah,
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent. And then, like you said, keep in the Cape.
That's
Yes.
right.
I'm going to eat dinner. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you got to stay here. It just gives us more of a reason. I don't want people leaving.
Well,
Don't
we
go over that bridge.
Well, we have to,
Yeah.
but yes.
Well,
well, we appreciate you coming on. Don't be a stranger, please. And thank you,
don't
thank you
be a
guys.
stranger.
Yeah,
Invite me
no.
back.
And thank you guys for all the help.
Anytime,
Thank you guys for all the help you've given
Thank
us
you
from the
so
beginning.
much. We
So
appreciate you both.
we love
Thank
the
you.
relationship. Big hand from Melissa,
Awesome.
everybody, and we will
Thank
see you at the boat around.
My
Is tomorrow
entourage.
night. Yeah, look at you.
Look at that. Big
Bigger-
round of applause.
Bigger hand than Brian Hammond. Thanks, Melissa. All right, the boat around is tomorrow. Did I turn your mic off? Yes, I did. I
Did.
turned the wrong one off.
And the bike parade.
The bike parade on the beach is tomorrow.
many things.
And then Sunday, we have our interview with the mayor on the beach. And our second episode with the Cape Coral mayor is Monday night at 5 o'clock. So if you haven't followed us on Facebook yet, please follow us on Facebook or YouTube. And we do an interview with the mayor of Cape Coral twice a month right now. It's remote right now. So any questions that you have for the mayor, you can send in advance, or you can watch online and type them in the chat box. We appreciate you all coming out, and we will see you in 3 weeks. We're taking 2 weeks off for the holidays. We'll see you in 3 weeks.
That's very generous of you.
Yes.
Giving me 2 weeks off.
I'll still pay you for all your work.
Oh, yes, yes.
And our next guest will be Councilmember Donnell is coming on. So we look forward to seeing you all in 3 weeks. And everybody have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye, everybody.